AKAME got
Here we
killed.
go! All right, now we're going to start off with Parasyte, and then we're going to go into AKAME got killed. So now in Parasyte, so the battle in the beginning, right? And they think that there's 3 parasites. Let's get into the sort of the biology of this stuff. So there's they take turns. They can take turns sleeping, right? Evidently, 2 of them can steer the other ones, right?
Well, from what I understand, the other ones in the body aren't capable of controlling. I don't even know if they're like functional. I think they're just like like dummy parasites. Like they can't really think for themselves or do anything. Just they're controlled either by Miki or they're controlled by the one that controls all 5 of them. And I think his name is Goto, and he is the only one that's able to control them to the extent that they can make use of all that super powerful like agility and all that stuff. And and the precision and the movements that Goto can get, that Miki can't get because he's all discoordinated.
So one of the things that keeps reoccurring is the parasites have different personalities, right? They're not. I mean, in the beginning, it seemed like they were all just the same. They just had this basic impulse, but in reality, they're different, and they have different personalities. They have different abilities. Just like what we're talking about here, it seems only 2 out of the 5 can actually have any kind of control. What is it? This Migi, that right hand, he can control 2 others, right? And that's all he can do.
Right, that's Miki. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the one that laughs. He's like, was that a right time to laugh? He's the one that's trying to act kind of human or whatever. And the other one isn't at all. The other one was like talk about a massive power up. Right? When that guy got in charge, it all got real. It was like and that guy even said, he says monkeys, and the other Migi said monkeys can't even move like that. this guy is over the freaking. He is Monkey King, right? This guy is over the top.
Yeah.
So and that leads to where is if this guy could just morph into whatever he needs to be. I mean next thing comes wings or whatever, right? I mean. This guy that's crazy because there's the power of 5 all in one body.
Mm. I wonder if the reason why he had so much agility is because of the 5 parasites, like in relation to the DNA to the human body. Well, actually, no, because Migi said that the leg that he cut wasn't a human leg; it was just a parasite.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe there's just like a stump with 5 parasites on it. I don't know. I don't even think.
No, I think they're all sentient. I think he's just the only one that's powerful enough to control all of them.
I think I know what it is. I think, all right. So I think like when Miki's controlling them, right? Like he's controlling the 2 parasites, for the tentacles, or whatever, the left and the right hand. But the legs are parasites too. He can't really move well if he's not coordinated well, so he's just barely making them move. But when Goto controls them, he probably can get like maximum 100% control out of every parasite. So it's almost like one of the legs is like can achieve more than the regular human body because it's like 100% parasite in one leg.
Right.
So that's how it's getting like the maximum speed and the maximum agility that Goto can get. I think that makes a lot more sense.
Well, I don't see how that's one iota different than what I said. Not even a speck.
Oh,
you couldn't put a cigarette paper in between what I said and you said.
Repeat what you said.
No, you see, you went the route. You said he can get maximum out of them because basically each limb is a parasite, right? Mm-hmm. Which I agreed with. Right. But my angle, I went with the head. I said it's because of his ability to control them. They're not all the same. They have different powers, different personalities, different abilities, which has been shown to us because his right hand can only control 2 others. So it's his ability that's important here in controlling himself and the other 4, coordinating it. It's him.
Right.
So, yeah. So anyway, we said the same thing in, I guess, 3 or 4 different ways.
I guess I just didn't hear you right. All right.
Well, no, we said the same thing at 2 different came in at 2 different angles. But anyway, moving on. So, but this is exciting because they're not just clones. It's obvious that they have different personalities, different abilities. So this is going to be awesome. And like I say, this guy's ability to morph and all kind of stuff is going to be exciting. Right. So we got the fight, which just went over the top. And like I say, we went from 3 them fighting 3 parasites to 5. And this dude was amazing. So, yeah, and so then we get to the whole part about the trucks. And then the whole thing with Migi, I mean, this is what's interesting. Migi is the problem, but he keeps being the solution, right? A lot of times. And this time, he's, so he gets him out of this one because there's a truck, it passes him, and he's like, no, we're getting on that truck. So they get on it, and of course the fight and everything, which was pretty crazy. And you could clearly see what was going to happen. They were just going to get killed. This guy's running like a freaking cheetah.
Right. He transformed his legs into something. And
I couldn't quite figure out what it was, but it was definitely...
I don't know, I thought it was like ostrich legs or something.
Yeah, bird-like, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the whole thing with Migi, like I say, he goes in there and turns the steering wheel, so he pops out of the guy, which was pretty good, and then robbing him at the same time, right? We find out later. So that was pretty good. I mean, they've laid, like I said, they've laid everything out for us pretty well. I mean, these 2 guys, this is basically what we said before, or I think we said before. But anyway, what I was thinking before was that what would happen is with this fight is that they would get overwhelmed and have to regroup, right? Mm-hmm. And this is pretty much what happened. So, but now they have some intel. Now they know a lot. But and then we can talk about, of course, the whole rest of it. But the overview is the parasites, because they're reacting the same way. Like, let's just kill whatever our problem is that they're pushing this group, right, together with the detective when he had his family killed, and Tomoko or whatever Ryuko or whatever her name is, the teacher, the ex-teacher. They're all being pushed together for survival because the parasites just simply are going to wipe them out. So I kind of thought the teacher would get back in, but I thought it would be fairly stupid or corny, because for them to be back on the same side, because they're really not on the same side. But the parasites have made them on the same side.
Yeah, she's always been about survival and, preserving her own life. And most parasites are, but then they band it up because they figure, we'll be able to survive easier if we have, company. But, numbers or whatever. But, she is very determined to find out, to go beyond her parasite self and understand the truth of the world. Whereas the other parasites are pretty much closed-minded, and they just want to live like parasites, So they're not willing to explore. They're not willing to, understand humans like she is, and that's why there's that conflict between them.
Yeah, and she's trying to find. She's afraid of human beings as a collective, and I love when she got into that because I tried to look this up before, but I took a class in college, and there was one part of it, and I think it was psychology. It was some American philosopher or something, or psychiatrist or whatever, social scientist or something in the past. He went into basically the idea that there's a lot of similarity between. Before I get to the explanation. Okay, remember what she said to the parasites, why humans were dangerous. It wasn't that they were individually dangerous, it's that human beings really are a collective, right?
Right. Their ability to work together even though they're alone. Basically what she was saying,
more than that. Because, see, like I said, now that's the setup, what she said. Because what she said is 100% correct, okay? Mm-hmm. Human beings behave, and what this guy said was human beings behave a lot like insects. Now, when people hear this, they dismiss it because they look at an insect and they look at a person, they think, no, right? No. But the fact is human beings behave a lot organizationally, okay, not individually, but organizationally like insects. Mm-hmm. The way we have our societies, the way we have set up, and all of a sudden, even people that maybe don't get along together, all of a sudden, when there's a crisis, they band together.
Right.
Okay. but they do it at a high level. I mean, okay? And when human beings wage war, they don't wage war at an individual level. And terrorists may, but organized countries do it at a highly organized level, right?
Right. So what she's afraid of is like all of a sudden we make an enemy of, you know, a police precinct. There's going to be an army at our doorstep.
Yes,
right.
Basically, and if the threat's big enough, like I say, she's seen that human beings, whether they realize it or not, exist on, well, they don't exist. I'm say exist on different levels, but they act on different levels whether they realize it or not. There's you and me, the individual, and the viewer is the individual, and then there's how we act in groups. And if somebody ever wants to see that, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but notice how you act. I've worked in a lot of different places. I was in the military. I've worked with a lot of different people all over the world. Okay, and when I was a kid, I moved around. Okay, and the thing is what you learn is you as an individual end up fitting into a group somehow. Someplace you may be more this person, or you may be more that. You know, you're the same person, but there's a group mentality that a lot of times people don't sit back and look at. So, anyway, I love that they've brought this out. That to me was just absolutely huge. But like I say, yeah, very cool. So there's a lot of deep stuff in there, and like I say, when Migi does his explanation when he steals, and he does that, he doesn't just say, you know, here's money, and then they keep moving. He's like, look, I'm not a human being. You know, your human laws, you go to hell. Your human laws, they don't apply to me. And plus two, I'm going to survive. And my survival and your survival are linked, so we got to survive, right? Right. So he let it out pretty well. But the big thing is where do we as human beings, you know, where are we more parasite and where are we more group oriented, and how does this all blend together? Because it's clear that when you work in a family, you know, an ethnic group or religion or whatever, people simply can't always do what they want and act out as they want. There's a part of them that works within all these different groups. So, but anyway, I was pretty excited about
there's
that.
There's a natural order that you have to follow when you're in groups. Exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of times we just do it and we don't realize it. So I just want to.
Yeah, I mean, even like with basic things like school, you know, work. There's a groove that we have to settle in, and then we have to stay that way, and you know, like it's just how it is.
Yeah, that is how. I mean, like you go in one group and maybe your status or whatever is high. Okay, you just in that group in this work area or whatever it's high. And then you go somewhere else and it's nothing. Right. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. So there's this group logic, the way this and how we fit in. All right. Well.
So I want to bring up
yeah.
We'll bring up Ryoko with her you know, I won't say about the end yet, but when you know how she, like in this episode and in previous episodes, she's showing more human nature in terms of like, you know, caring for, you know, the baby, you know, experimenting on it and stuff like that, and you know, looking more into human behavior, attending lectures and things like that. I was thinking that the parasites, when they're in the human form, that they're more susceptible to being reasonable and maybe even more in tune with their human bodies. Because think about it, when the student in school, he promised Shinichi that he wouldn't kill anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was secretly killing people on the side, you know, in the city because he needed to survive. But he kept his promise. He wasn't killing anybody in the school until that girl, you know, found him or whatever. And I remember there was a scene where he was like confused. He didn't know if he should eat people or if he shouldn't, and he was like in this state where he couldn't control himself. He said he couldn't transform back into his human face. He wanted to put the human face back on and get out of there, but he couldn't. He was in this like, you know, bestial this instinct mode where he needed to kill and feed. So I wonder if, like, you know, if the parasites actually become more human, gain more of a personality the longer they're in their human bodies. Like the longer they're nestled inside of there, is the DNA from the human bodies affecting them? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, you know, once they transform their head and they're eating and everything, they're these monsters. But when they're actually in human form, they change. They get personalities, and you know they become more more in tune to logically debate about issues and things of that nature. What do you think about that?
Well, that may be possible. I would go with the Hunter x Hunter thing that happened during the ant arc, right? Remember what made the Chimera ants, what gave them problems was their interaction with humans. So it's like the interaction of the human baby with the parasite mother. It's their interaction with humans that's going to get them in trouble.
Right, so you think that like when that school kid was interacting with Shinichi and with other school kids, he was trying to, the interaction with humans was making him not want to kill his classmates, or not?
No, I think that he had enough interaction to do it. But I think real interaction, like I say, and it's sort of like Migi. I think Migi is gotten a little bit modified because of, his interaction. But the mother-child thing is pretty powerful. So that I think that they're allowing that to go a little bit further.
Right.
But
I mean, because that is essentially her child. She had that. The parasite had that child. Got pregnant and gave birth to it. So it's kind of like a part of her life, even though she's not the human brain that was a part of the body. It's still like the baby is kind of like hers.
Yeah, but I think it's still tiny because I've only seen two things in this series that I've seen. Maybe there's more. You can tell me that where she was seeming human. This episode with the baby, it seemed like there was some kind. She could tell there was something in her that was going on. I guess while she's a woman, the hormones, whatever, right? There was something going on, and then the whole thing where she was laughing. Right. Sadistically, that other person that fell down or whatever.
Right, that was like experiencing real emotion that she felt like that guy was pathetic or whatever.
Right.
She had the urge to laugh.
Yeah, and it could be curiosity, or it could just be she's tasted a little bit of these emotions and she wants more, right? And what's interesting is everything we've said right now, go back to the parasite whose whole body is parasites. So going with what you're saying, then those guys are just staying solid parasites. They're never human really, right? They may look a little bit, but they're just parasites. So
yeah, Miki is kind of like the whole wrench in my theory because I don't know where he gets his emotions from. But I don't know. I feel like the DNA the human DNA and the parasite DNA might be interchanging in terms of affecting one another. It makes sense for Shinichi and it makes sense for Ryoko. I don't get Miki because Miki shouldn't really have all those emotions. Well, maybe he doesn't have emotions. Maybe he's just pretending to have them. I think Miki said don't be fooled by him. He's only pretending to be that way or something. But
no, and the whole dream thing. Now Migi lost 30% of himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he can't get it back now. He's given up. But he's able to communicate in that guy's in his dreams. And with Shinichi, and he's able to communicate with him in his dreams. So there's I mean, I don't think he can communicate with just anybody in their dreams. I think there is an underlying connection that leaves them open like that, and that may go into the other direction, right?
Right.
It may be that when they fight, that may be something. Actually, it may be something that's getting ready to happen. Because remember, when the other Migi, the one when they were fighting, he mentioned, "Oh, you guys have to confer while you're fighting." What happens when they can start talking to each other, and it doesn't have to be verbal, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can just start communicating like that. They'll be even more dangerous, and maybe that's something that has to happen before they have this. Well, I don't know. Well, let me ask you this: what has to happen before these two have a chance at those five? Because I mean, that seems many levels over them, their ability, right?
I don't know. I think probably tactics. The advantage that Migi and Shinichi have is that they work together. And he can do things that Migi can't, and Migi can do things that he can't. So they both have their strengths. If they utilize their strengths, and plan a trap or use a tactical advantage, then that's probably the best way to defeat the enemy. But Goto, he just seems like he's raw power. He's He's super fast. He's probably really strong, like stronger than an average parasite, and he has like more of the tentacles than a regular parasite has because he's getting them from the other parasites in the body. So I mean, yeah, I think like a trap would probably be the best way to get rid of him. Like maybe, let's say the bullets, like lure him into like a gun shower, just like or grenades or something. That's probably like the best bet.
He did get wore out. Unfortunately, if there's any humans around, he could refuel rather quickly, it looks like. So it's like, yeah, I'm low on blood. Well, I'll just get some yours.
Yeah, that was interesting. That they run out of blood. I guess like it's the same way as we get weak when we don't have any food in our body. So same thing. They need that nourishment. But I just thought that was a great tactical thing in this episode, showing how Miki was swinging his tentacles together, and very clumsily, and he couldn't really walk well, and so Miki came up with the idea to go into a forest, into a closed area, so the tentacles would slam into the trees, and they'd get easy way to get in there. Then when the advantage changed, and the guy was using the trees as a springboard, they went into an open area. They were basically just running away because they couldn't win, and they found a way to get out of there with the truck.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well choreographed.
Well, now let's get to the next stage. Okay, so now we've got our people are pushed together. So we've got Migi, Shinichi, we've got the teacher, we've got the private investigator whose family just got wiped out. Now they're pushed together, and also always the guy with the chin, right? The crying guy with the chin.
Yeah, he wasn't in this episode though.
No. I'm just saying that he's a posse.
He's an ally, yeah, right.
He's an ally. He's somebody that's out there. He may not be back in that soon, but who knows? But anyway, potentially it seems like that's what they have. That's the team that they have together.
Right. Well, it looks like the private eye guy is all out for himself for revenge. I don't think he's going to be teaming up with Shinichi again, unless somehow Shinichi runs into him.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, but the thing is he doesn't. He was working for Tomoko. He doesn't like her, but he may be able to get over it once he finds out that it wasn't her, right? And since they're all
family, yeah.
Yeah. So once again, it goes back to what we were saying before. People.
And then again, she wasn't against killing his family. She was like, "And you didn't kill him."
It was the way it was done. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, that motivated him to,
Because she's smart. She knows, the humans will figure out it was a murder, and he'll figure it out, and he'll go to the police. But those parasites don't even think. They're just like, oh, what's the deal? We kill them. We kill them, whatever. We just kill them. And she's like, well, no. There's a procedure.
Well, they've been physically finding out how they can fight, right? I wonder how I'll do against guns and bullets,
Yeah.
And then they're just getting physically better, and they've been using politics in this and that. But she's been going to college classes on psychology and whatever, sociology and everything to understand human beings' work. So she's been really studying this. So so this looks exciting. I'm amazed at this series. This is a tremendous amount of fun, especially I guess since it was done over in the 90s. So somebody really went back and picked this up and did an awesome job with it.
Yeah, it's I think Studio Madhouse, I think is the one doing it, and they're a really great anime studio. They usually bring out blockbuster series. So.
They seem to be the best group as far as that's who you want. Madhouse to do your stuff. That seems to be
visually. They always have the best stuff. Visually, looks great. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think Madhouse is doing Fate Stay Night too now. I think that's the studio doing it.
All right. Now, is there anything? I do kind of want to move this along, but is there anything else before we go to the AKAME stuff?
Just to say the ending scene, or the scene where she was breastfeeding the baby. I just love scenes like that because it shows you don't know is she becoming more human? Is she because she's looking at the baby, she's like, you're a mystery, and the baby is very happy with her. The baby's not looking at her like a monster, he's looking at her like his mother. And so just that scene, where she's getting more into her humanity, and is she this crazy monster? Is she getting more human? What's going to happen? Is she going to get killed by these parasites now? Is she becoming a good guy? because the story seems to be making us think like, oh, maybe she'll be joining forces with Shinichi now, you know?
Right.
And you're starting to think of her as not as a villain, but as like a, what do they call Sasuke?
Well, complicated character when it's not really good, but not really completely bad or whatever.
Right, right. Not a villain, but you know, like in that gray area, right?
Right, right.
And,
Which is
yeah, and I think it's really cool that you know, her character. I just love her character in the show, and you know, I'm excited to see what they do with the story. I mean, it's just Parasyte's just so good with the action and with the like the drama and like the, again, like I said last week, the psychological aspect to it, the thought-provoking questions you ask yourself. You know, you questioning, you know, the basis of what being a human is and what being a monster is. And, you know, the black and white issues. You know, there's a lot of issues in this that the show confronts and just, you know, brings up great discussion and thought. So, you know. What is it called? Philosophical thought, or whatever.
right, right.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
All right, let's go ahead. I do, like I said, I do kind of want to move this along. So let's go now during AKAME. Okay, 56, and I've got the page open and everything. We can kind of go through this. I just have to say this: the whole thing with the general, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's this is the way it should have been done in the freaking anime. This is so much. I can't. This is so much better. He is so much more awesome a character in here, and you know, they all are really. I mean, they've all had a disservice. And Esdeath actually getting nailed, but even she kind of admitted, hey, I kind of left myself open because she cares for
Right.
So there's that her whole weird love thing, which is I guess her only weakness, right? She saw me or whatever.
Yeah, just Tatsumi.
Tatsumi
has that hold on her that she doesn't really go all out against him because she's so captivated by him. She gets distracted. But the way he went out in the manga is so much better than the anime. I mean, he kept taking, you know, damage for damage, and he kept coming back with even stronger attacks, and he pretty much like you know, brought them to their breaking point until Tatsumi got back involved in the match, and even then he took such devastating blows from Tatsumi and then went in the sky and, you know, tried to like use lightning from the sky to stop their escape. It was really cool. He was bloodthirsty in the manga, you know.
Well, he thought he could just take on the whole group, and he was almost right. But he ran out of juice. That's what ended up. He literally ran out of juice.
Yeah, and plus he was up against, you know, Pumpkin at the height of her desperation, you know, in the biggest crisis that she's ever been, you know, with all the friends on her side, you know, that she's loved Tatsumi, you know, so her power was like over 9,000 right there.
Yeah, it was way over there. And I love this. Unlike before, this is the general. Unlike before, Maitege and I are now enraged. Oh. Yeah, so that was awesome. Just watching the power levels and everything, and the abilities just keep going through the roof. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, if he would have had more power, if he wouldn't have wasted his power, if he had been more judicious about it, and maybe took them a little more seriously, then he would have wiped them out.
Yeah, he seems like he said that he wasn't on the battlefield much. Like he's been like relatively like complacent with how his training schedule was, and, you know, not pushing himself, and apparently that cost him in this battle, according to him anyway. You know, made him weaker. So, but yeah, he was arrogant, and he was a really good villain. I didn't understand him as a person because like Tatsumi and everybody would be like, the Empire is evil. Like, what are you doing? Like, can't you see the people suffering? And he'd just be like, whatever. Like, you know, the Empire is the Empire, and I'll fix it after I kill all of you.
Right.
So, but yeah, he was a really strong character. I was surprised in the manga with Tatsumi. They planted the poison barbed wire on his Tegu on Incursio. And I was wondering, like, how did that work? Like, because he used Incursio, he transformed, so why didn't the poison hurt him then, when he first grabbed it on the hilt? You know, as opposed to, like, much later on while he was transformed. Like, I get, like, the argument that while he's in the armor, he's protected from the poisonous barbs, and that they adapt to it or whatever. But when he first grabbed it to transform, you know, why did he get poisoned then? That's
Yeah, I don't know if technically that's going to work. Like you say, you're pointing out, you know, what you're pointing out, I can't dispute it. So yeah, it may not technically fit perfectly, but there it is. So and like
it was
I
a
said,
way to get him. Yeah, it was a way to get him out of the picture, so that Mind would sacrifice everything for him.
Yeah, this was yeah, it was kind of a difficult writing here because you've got Esdeath in the general, and that's just there's no way to beat him. So Esdeath, I mean, if you think about it, it was her getting punched from him was, you know, and just taking herself out of the fight.
Right. Well, at least he faked her out. He swung the spear at her, and she blocked that. But then he let go of it like midair, so she blocked something with, you know, much less force, and he like pretty much delivered all his power in one punch and cracked all. I mean, you know, it wasn't that bad, but I mean, she basically says like, oh, like, you know, I've underestimated him too much. It's because of my feelings for him. You know, I'm not taking him seriously as a warrior or whatever. So that's why she got hit.
Right.
So in a way, it keeps Esdeath strong, which he obviously the author wants to do. But it also gives Tatsumi the means to go and help Night Raid kill off Udo. So.
And needless to say, Curcio, right, Tatsumi, he is getting pretty crazy and powerful himself, right?
He's like half transformed now. You saw at the end of the chapter, and one of his eyes is like in permanent Curcio mode.
Right. So he's in Sage mode now. Permanently, so yeah, he's up there, man. Dude is up there on a high level.
Right, and somebody said on a forum that the studio, I think it's called Whitehole, that did a Hangout Kill anime.
Yeah.
They said that, or rather, the author said that the anime version of what happened is AKAME's story. And the manga version is going to be Tatsumi's story. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tatsumi is the one ending up as the sole survivor in the manga, and probably AKAME will probably end up getting killed.
Huh.
So I wonder.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just as long as I don't have the same feeling about it as the anime, I'll be all right. Let me just say, they can do anything they want. If the writing's good enough, right? Just like this chapter. This was different. I had to figure out some ways.
And let me tell you, I mean, yeah, the manga guy, the mangaka, the author, he's trying to save face by basically saying, oh, that was the you know, the AKAME roots in the anime, but basically he just let the anime do whatever they wanted with that, you know, and then he just claimed, oh, that's a comic story. That's pretty much what he's doing, because what he's writing now is leagues apart from what the anime does, you know, so. I know for a fact that he didn't tell the anime. Well, I don't know for a fact, but I know, you know, I feel personally, and from what I've heard, you know, sources, that he pretty much didn't tell the anime, you know, what to do. That they just did it, you know, on their own, the filler. So.
Yeah, it was horrible. What a like I say, I was spoiled in the middle. So anybody watching, just keep watching the anime. and although this would have spoiled the hell out of you anyhow, but
yeah, don't watch like episode 18. Stop from episode 18. Read the Wild Hunt arc in the manga, and, you know, read from there, chapter like 36 or 37 or something like that, and read from there, because that's where the manga is completely different and it's much better. But yeah, so there was this theory, like I said before, I think I've said it in this podcast before, but that Tatsumi, in relation to his village and that statue that he got or whatever, you know, has something to do with the beast form that he's kind of like transforming into through Incurcio. You know, like with his single eye being transformed and stuff. And then, of course, you have the religious figure, the guy who's in charge of the religious organization. He had this, you know, he had something to say about Mine and Tatsumi being destined, and like, you know, that there's a tragic fate approaching them or something like that. There's something deep in there. There's a hidden story thing there that I'm not too good at, but I've seen people post things on forums where it's like, oh, yeah, you know, you're right, yeah. So like there's some kind of thing that I'm not seeing right now where with Tatsumi in this beast mode and you know and with mine and their relation to, or their connection to fate and that creature or whatever. So I don't know, but it's good. I'm really enjoying the manga.
Yeah, well, like I said, well then let's go ahead and get to the endish part of this. The whole thing about mine is what, like, she's basically like in a coma. I guess her body's alive, but her spirit energy or whatever is just
Drained. Yeah.
drained. So she's, you know, so that's the question. I mean, is she gonna still? So it looks like there's some way to bring her back or whatever, right? So,
Well, I mean, if he was going to kill her, he would have just killed her, right? What's
right.
the point of keeping her in a coma? He's killed everybody else. So I imagine that she'll probably fight again at the very end or something. I don't know. Maybe she'll get a different Tegu. Who knows? But yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of mine. I think she'll be getting back into it. But what I'd be interested to see is, how the anime ended with AKAME being by herself and like being tracked down by assassins and whatever. I wonder if what they'll do is they'll make Tatsumi the last surviving Night Raid member with like mine in a coma, and then like just have him like be this monster beast and just go against the Empire all by himself or something. That'd be pretty crazy.
I don't know, but like the Empire's in trouble, right? Because that was part of what happened in there. They were showing how all the rebels are taking the towns and everything and pushing toward the capital.
Yeah, that's the same as the anime, with the Revolutionary Army closing in on the Empire, and pretty much even like lords and nobles now are joining forces with the Revolutionary Army because they feel like it's a losing battle, to side against them because they lost Fudo. Fudo was like that huge morale crusher, like, oh my god, we lost the greatest general in the history of the Empire. So, that right there is giving the Revolutionary Army momentum, and if it's like the anime, Edzeth won't be able to handle all of them, especially with Night Raid fighting her. So, I don't know. I mean, this situation with Edzeth being the last one around, and the city being surrounded by the rivers, that's the same. So, but yeah, it's just the manga is so much better. I'm excited to see what happens with Tatsumi. So.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Like I say, the manga is just so much better than the anime. Let's say episode 18. I guess that's really completely go off the rails.
Yeah, when they're about to assassinate the guy or whatever, that's all filler in the anime, and also the entire Wild Hunt arc before that, introducing all the members and stuff. They don't do that. They just leave them as nameless fodder in the anime, in quotes and stuff. So.
All right.
In the manga, we got like a pop idol singer, who has singing powers, and we've got a mad scientist girl, kind of like who's talking. She was actually talking in this chapter. That girl.
She's an alchemist or whatever.
Yeah, she was talking to the sleazeball minister, and
Yeah.
And so she was originally planning on working with Stylish.
Yeah.
Which they said in the manga, oh no, he's dead, because she wanted to combine her strength with his to make devastating experiments. But yeah, and we got all these, the clown, the crazy ass clown that did all the raping and shit. And, there was so many characters that were forgotten in the anime, and the whole story with Run, and his entire backstory. So a lot of stuff was skipped in the anime. So around episode 17 or 18. So just go to the manga from that point.
All right. Like I said, I kind of want to go ahead and rush this. Go ahead and finish this up. Now, is there anything? I think we pretty much did it, right? We'll come back for the next thing. Probably. I mean, the way that the manga comes out, sometimes it's 1 or 2 a month, and sometimes it's not like every other month or something. So whenever they come out with 57, we'll throw it in.
From my experience, it seems like a month and 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Usually. And it seems so long when the new chapter comes out. It's like, oh my god, a new chapter came out. You forget how much time has passed,
Well, one last question. I'm back on Parasyte, or actually anime-wise. When's the last time? I don't know how. Let me just wait. When's the last? I mean, I'm getting more and more excited about Parasyte every week. Right? I mean, I'm loving this series. And then I guess I'll have to. I went and looked it up. I guess there's, I can't remember, 83 chapters or something. There's something less than 100 chapters, I think.
Yeah.
In Parasyte. So, but I kind of look forward to reading the manga afterward too. At least that's
I would advise definitely watching the anime first.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of disappointed because I know what's coming up with certain things. And
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been surprised. But yeah.
But it was good stuff. I'm sure it was, the writing. All right,
anyway. For the most part, the anime has been really faithful to the manga, except for like maybe a couple of scenes in the beginning where they changed some stuff, but it's really nothing. Yeah, it's been really faithful.
All right, well, like I said, go ahead and any final thoughts, and we'll go ahead and close it out.
No, just final thoughts is Kami Kill manga is awesome. Read it, and Parasyte the Maxim is an awesome show. Watch it.
All right, until next time, take care.
Night, guys.